Hello and welcome to the next video of my Rookies 2026 mid-season updates. We're covering mid laners here. These are the mid laners that have not played at least half of a season previously in a Worlds qualifying region. These are the rookies that are still starters on their teams. There are some that are no longer on their teams. Pongyan as an example for CFO, amongst others. This mid lane crop to me, there are some interesting names, but otherwise pretty lackluster. Not quite like top lane and 80 carry and support are the three that are really in a good spot in my opinion. There are decent junglers. We went over Rylith yesterday, but mid lane I don't. There isn't a ton to write home about. We got Hongsu DCG, Darkwings of Sentinels, Enga of Leviton, Feisty of Los, Chica of MVK, Calmy of Disguised, Heru of Thundertalk, Zinni of Shopify, Pout of CFO, and then Nia of IG. The last two only playing 10 games. They just became starters recently. KDA, Hongsu doing very well, Chica as well in the LCP, Pout. These LCP rookies are finding a way not to die, but then their stats are tanking in other ways. Kill participation. The most involved player is Enga at 70%. That's over 2 out of every 3 kills. He is important to what Leviton are doing. However, you have a player like Chica who's only involved in half of MVK's kills. Things occurring away from him. He's not as impactful to what the team is doing. And I find, and I've been told in the past, and it's statistically usually the case, the anomalies in KP and damage divided by gold in the mid lane row tend to be Vietnamese mids. I don't know what the meta makes, how the meta makes that happen, but more often than not, when we have these crazy weird numbers with mid laners, they end up being Vietnamese mids. Gam historically with Kadi was very, very prevalent in this regard. Arrest, Glory, Emo, it doesn't really matter. And it's really weird. So Chica follows that same trend of a weird kill participation, low farm, 8.2. So he's not fighting. He's not involved in what the team's doing kill-wise, and he's also not getting a lot of farm. So he's doing neither. In terms of farm, we have +9 for Hongsu, Darkwings, Feisty, Calmy, 9.4. But Calmy not turning that into damage at 1.47. He is not that carry threat for Disguised over the season. It really has been Sejet and Castle, which is not great. You want, if somebody's getting all that farm and not giving it away to somebody else, they should be dealing a ton of damage with it. At the higher end of things, Darkwings 1.75, 1.71 for Hongsu. Well, that's good. Darkwings is an older rookie on this board. He's probably the oldest one with room to spare. I think he's like 25, 26 years old. And that's important too. People say age doesn't matter, but with rookies, I feel like the more stage games under your belt, the more experience you have, the better that transition will go at first. I do think that the older the player is, the higher floor, lower ceiling that they have. The old saying, you can't teach a old dog new tricks. I feel like with a younger mid laner, there's potential still to find out what that player could be and mold them into what you need for your team. Where an older player, you're kind of getting what you're getting, right? And Darkwings has done much better this season than they did last year. He was Disguised mid in 2025 for the last half of the season. But Calmy 1.47, speaking of Disguise with a 2-2 share differential, these numbers need to be better. He played with Nongshim at times in the LCK, but this is just not turning out to be what we would like it to be. Other share differential notes. Darkwings 5.6%. He is the secondary carry on Sentinels behind Rahel, and with room to spare. Hamba provides a little bit of pop sometimes, but Impact is a glorified support tank in top lane at this point in his career. 5.4 for Heru of Thundertalk. Thundertalk are a disaster. They weren't doing very well for the majority of the season. Now with On in the 80 carry role alongside Feather, things have gotten slightly better, but they struggle to win games. Now, Haru is dealing a lot of damage for their team, a Korean import playing in the LPL. Everyone kind of around that 3% or so except Call Me. Vision efficiency, you would like, hell, Call Me at 5.26. That's screamingly great. Like, that is being a support from the mid lane in terms of, really, only junglers have +5. The big difference, you see 5.2, 2.79, 5.26, 2.87. The next high is 3.89 of Hangzhou, which would be fantastic. Okay, so 5.26 for Call Me is insane. That is extremely efficient vision usage and ward placement. That is like, he might as well be the shot caller for the team. You could get a support that does, like, that. There are very rare cases where I could say that you take a shot calling role and put it in mid. Faker is one that sticks out. A player that's been around the block, more of a playmaker. If somebody's setting up vision that well, they know where the enemy is, and that sort of ability is one that a shot caller, like scream shot caller role. So I don't know if Call Me may be Call Me may be a great role swap candidate, honestly. And he's a rookie, so I don't want to say that his career in mid lane's over, but that vision score is insanely, insanely great. Like, it is, it's not the highest when you compare it to junglers in the world, of course, but that's a different role. That is probably he's probably the best with vision in the world, based on the efficiency stat. In terms of gold difference, Feisty's the only one really crushing his mid lane matchups, up 300 in CB LOL. Otherwise, Hangzhou's 140, Call Me's 100. But Haru behind 445, getting smoked in that lower group against mid laners that aren't that good. Bulldog is good, but the rest, you're playing Hai Chao and Tangwan here. That's no bueno. Zinni 250 behind. Zinni has struggled, and he's been very much banned out. They're focusing him. I understand he is the stud for Shopify, and I do think Zinni, I hope this doesn't ruin him, because I think he is very, very talented. So yeah, Chica behind 350. You don't love that. Every game he goes even. There's a game he's behind 700 gold. Solo kills. Enga, 1 every 3 games for Leviton. Doing a good job in that area. Very aggressive. Feisty, 1 in every 4. Pout has 4 in 10 games with CFO. But something really interesting is Darkwings. He has 1 in 40 games or something. So the outplay potential really isn't there mechanically. Like I said, very, very steady in mid. In terms of champions, play Chica and Zinni play more than one different one every other game. Wide champion pools here. 1 in every 3 games for a player like Hangzhou, meaning 1 new champion every 3 games. You'd like that development to take place long term. But as far as this board is concerned, the mid lane role to me that right now this season's not really popped off all that much in the rookie class. Despite having a player like Zinni on here, he really has not done much at all. And then the rest of the players, they're solid, they're doing their job, but nobody is crushing it across the board. A player like Hangzhou has a good stat line. Darkwings has been okay. That Call Me vision efficiency stats crazy still, but nevertheless. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.